Ever since his move to Germany, Ani Babuli has kept a pretty consistent schedule. Training by day, relaxing by night in his luxury apartment, and then back on the training field, ready to make things happen for Borussia Dortmund. But to tell the truth, Babuli has been feeling a little lonely, seeing as his best friend slash cousin slash agent has all but abandoned him. And while he has been MIA for the past year and a half or so, he's been out living a luxurious lifestyle with Ani Babuli's money, spending it on clubs, women, fancy clothes, fancy cars, and all this while Ani Babuli is working tirelessly to become the best footballer, and while he thinks he's sending all his money back at home. And unfortunately, it seems Babuli will never find out the truth. But with that, we have to focus on match week 21 in the Bundesliga, where Dortmund hosts Mönchengladbach. And this match was an absolute dud until late in the match in the 79th minute, when Chukwuemeka was able to pass the ball to Ani Babuli, and Ani Babuli cut in with some fancy skill moves, passed it back to Chukwuemeka, and Ani Babuli now had the chance to go to goal, have a shot, put it bar down, and win the match for Borussia Dortmund as he hit the Ani Babuli prance and scored his 23rd goal of the Bundesliga campaign. And with that all-important victory, Dortmund found himself remaining in 7th place in the Bundesliga with a total of 37 points. We still have 13 matches left in the Bundesliga to win this title, and one of those 13 matches falls against Mainz. And of course, Mainz is going to be a very tough opponent. They sit, I think, in 2nd or 1st place in the Bundesliga at the moment. And Ani Babuli taking the ball, passing it to Chukwuemeka, who lays it off for Babuli, who smacks it into the back of the net with his left foot. And Ani Babuli dancing in the snow. And Kraub on the ball, taking it down, nobody on him. And Kaishu laying it off for Kraub. And it's Ndoye heading the ball to Ani Babuli, who takes a touch. He's just juggling it like Ronaldinho past the defense. He breaks away. Ani Babuli through on goal, and you know he ain't missing from there. Ani Babuli with a spectacular goal. And just moments later, Hollerback would lay it off for Gleiber, who would have a shot, but Kobel was there to collect. And Kobel launching it over. Julian Brown able to attain the ball, but Ndoye is there. Ndoye with a beautiful pass to Adeyemi. Adeyemi cutting back to Chukwuemeka. And Ani Babuli sending the defender for a hot dog, having a shot, unable to score. But Emeka is there to put it into the back of the net. And Dortmund with a huge 3-0 victory. And with that victory, you can see Dortmund making their way up the table to 6th place with a total of 40 points on the board. And as you can see, we're only 7 points off the top of the table, so all hope is not lost. And as we focus on the Champions League playoffs, we have a big match against Manchester United, and the first match is in Germany. And De Ligt with an immediate header, looking dangerous, but Emre Can is there to pass it to Ani Babuli. And Ani Babuli in the 7th minute, getting past Kirkez with ease. And Brandt passing it to Babuli. Babuli with some skills, has Ekitike in the middle, and Hugo Ekitike ain't missing from there. A wonderful goal by Ekitike, putting Dortmund up 1-0, giving us the early lead against Manchester United. And Cunha to Šeško. Šeško with a beautiful pass to Bruno Fernandes. Ugarte to Mbumo. United playing some good ball, but getting stopped in their tracks. And Meka to Babuli. Babuli to Ekitike, and Meka back to Babuli. Ani Babuli on his right foot. Ani Babuli having a shot, but De Ligt's there to block it. But Babuli's there to get the header from Meka. And Babuli smacks it into the bins and puts Dortmund up 2-0 against Manchester United. And in the 63rd minute, Babuli hungry for blood, looking for more. Adeyemi on the ball, crossing it, but blocked by Kirkez. Ugarte laying it off for Bruno. Bruno sending it forward. Somehow Mbumo's gonna get there. Ain't no way. Lays it off for Šeško, and Benny Šeško putting it into the back of the net. And Man United find themselves back into the match. With just 12 minutes left, Ugarte and Martinez working together. Bruno Fernandes with Martinez now. Lissandro losing it out on the ball. Martinez once again on the ball with another chance, laying it off beautifully for Mbuma, who lays it off for Šeško on a plate. And he's not missing from there. And Šeško has somehow brought his team back into the match. And Dortmund throwing away a 2-0 lead against Manchester United. And I'll tell you what, they look hungry for blood again. And it's Martinez passing it to Ugarte. Ugarte on the ball, finding Kirkez. Man United working their way up the field once again. And Bruno Fernandes with a brilliant assist to Šeško. Can you believe it? Manchester United has stolen the victory here. A late winner by Šeško, who completes a hat trick. And we've just been put in the mud by Manchester United. And the Dortmund fans are pissed, rightfully so, as we find ourselves down 3-2 in the first leg of the Champions League playoff. And as we head into match week 23 of the Bundesliga, we look to maintain our good run of form against Werder Bremen. And Babuli passing it to Adeyemi, who finds Babuli, and Ani Babuli has a shot, and then Mecca's there to put the rebound in the back of the net and give Dortmund the 1-0 lead. And just a few minutes later, Bilal on the ball. El Bilal getting past the defense, smacking it into the bins, and bringing Werder Bremen right back in the match. And Ani Babuli would have an answer for them just moments later. Back and forth action in this match, as you can see. Ani Babuli taking the ball from the wing, taking the ball to the middle of the field and smacking it into the goal. With his right foot, curling it past the keeper and hitting the Ani Babuli points. Back and forth action in this match. And the 60th minute would see Ani Babuli lay it off for Julian Brandt, who would continue his run, and Brandt would smartly cut back to Ani Babuli, who would lay it off for Mecca, who would show some techers before converting the shot into the third goal of the match. And Felix and Mecca high-fiving with the Dortmund mascot as the crowd goes crazy. And Werder Bremen trying to make something happen. And it's Schmid on the ball, passing it to Stage, and Stage back to Schmid, and Schmid laying it off beautifully for Bilal, and El Bilal converting the shot. And with just a few minutes left in the match, Stage trying to make something happen. Coyolo back to Coyote. Coyote has his pass intercepted by the Moroccan magician, who smacks it into the bins past the keeper and makes it 4-2 for Dortmund. And Ani Babuli with his 27th goal in the Bundesliga campaign as Dortmund cement their place in 6th place in the Bundesliga with a total of 43 points. And as you can see, the gap between us and Bayern falls down to 5 points. And as we shift our focus back to the Champions League playoff, we have unfinished business with one Manchester United. And in the 10th minute of the match, Schlotterbeck with a beautiful interception. Brandt heading the ball to Babuli. Babuli in the middle of the park, passing it to Bellingham. Bellingham finding Ekitike, who has some skills, and passes to Babuli, who converts his shot past the keeper and scores at Old Trafford. Ani Babuli with a wonderful goal, and he does his iconic dance at the Theater of Dreams. And all was looking well for Dortmund. We were looking to go through to extra time with Manchester United. That is until an absolute head loss in the 80th minute. And as you can see, it just wasn't meant to be, as Šeško had a shot and then Mbuma was there to put the rebound into the back of the net. And Ani Babuli's Champions League dreams once again coming to an end way sooner than expected. And with that disappointing loss we just took to Manchester United, the Champions League dream comes to an end for Ani Babuli. And as you can see, the teams that advance will be having all the fun in the world while we'll be sat at home. But we must focus on match week 24 in the Bundesliga. We face off against FC Augsburg. And Babuli working with Chukwuemeka. And Doye on the ball, passing it over to Nmeka. And Mecca finding Babuli. Babuli has four around him, has a shot, and it's not a problem for Ani Babuli. With a thunder cunt of a goal. Off the post and in. And Shule here getting ready to throw it in. And Mecca passing it to Babuli. Ani Babuli laying it off for Bellingham. Bellingham passing the ball to Chukwuemeka. And now Ndoye on the ball, laying it off for Babuli. Babuli working towards the goal. On the ball still with another outside the box shot curling around the keeper top right. And can you believe it? Rinse and repeat. Ani Babuli scoring banger after banger. Augsburg trying to make something happen. Babuli losing it on the header. Meyer passing it to Masenio. Masenio on the ball. Babuli with a brilliant tackle. Winning possession back for Dortmund. And now Babuli threading it through to Nmeka, who's through on goal now. Nmeka having a shot. Top left corner. Cool, calm, collected. And Dortmund with a 3-0 lead. Chukwuemeka brilliantly settling the ball, passing it to Babuli. And Ani Babuli now taking on all the defenders who dare challenge him, laying it off for Ndoye. Ndoye cutting back. Ani Babuli on the ball. Ani Babuli from outside the box one more time. 3 goals, 3 bangers. 3 of the same kind of goals by Ani Babuli to make it 4-0 for Dortmund. And that dominating victory shoots us all the way up to 3rd place in the Bundesliga with a total of 46 points. And as you can see here, we sit just 2 points off of Bayern Munich, who sit top of the Bundesliga table. And unfortunately for Bayern, it just so happens that we happen to play them next. And this is going to be the most intense match of Ani Babuli's career so far. Moise Kean on the ball, passing it to Musiala. Musiala to Kean. And beautiful football by Bayern rewards them with a goal. Musiala finishing his dinner and finishing off a great goal for Bayern Munich. And things were looking grim for Dortmund until Musiala's pass was intercepted by Nmeka in the 38th minute. And Ndoye working his way up the field, passing it to Ekitike, who found Babuli. And Ani Babuli has all the space, and when he has all the space, you know he's not gonna miss his chance. And Ani Babuli converting, shooting it past the keeper, and putting Dortmund back into the match. And with that, we only managed to pick up 1 point, which actually sees us fall down to 4th place in the Bundesliga. But keep faith, because things are nice and tight here at the top of the Bundesliga table, and we still have plenty of chances to win this Bundesliga title. And as we head into match week 26 of the Bundesliga, we face off against Stuttgart. And Stuttgart was not looking to make things easy for us, as up until the 30th minute it was back and forth, intense football being played, and Ekitike would thread it through to Ani Babuli, and Ani Babuli would take a big touch and another big touch, and you know he's putting it into the bins, making it 1-0. And Ani Babuli with his 32nd goal of the Bundesliga campaign. And as the second half began, Ani Babuli would find himself on the ball, immediately losing the ball. And it's Sarb on the ball, passing it to Llewellyn. Llewellyn to Sarb. Buonani back to Sarb. Brilliant stuff by Stuttgart here. Buonani passing it to Nicholas Jackson, and Llewellyn on the ball. Llewellyn still on the ball, having a shot. And can you believe it? Stuttgart are back in the match. Dortmund with a corner in the 68th minute. Ani Babuli making his way towards the corner of the box. And Doye finding Babuli. Babuli with a turn. Babuli on the ball still. Has some space. Has a shot, but it's blocked. And it's shot her back. Passing to Babuli. Babuli with a touch. Pass to defense. Brilliant. Joga bonito by Ani Babuli, as he brings Dortmund back into the lead with a brilliant goal, which sees us collect yet another 3 points, which shoots us up to third place in the Bundesliga. And we're just 2 points off the top. And guess what? First place plays second place, which means we might go top of the table after this next match. And of course, that match falls against Wolfsburg, a team that will not fold under any circumstances. And Amora lobbing it over to Skov Olsen, and Skov Olsen on the ball. Skov Olsen has 2 on him. Brilliant pressure by Dortmund, and Mecca finding Brandt. Brandt able to get the ball to Babuli. Babuli now looking to make some magic happen. Puts his back to the defender, lays it off for Brandt, who continues his run and finds Ani Babuli. And Babuli now still on the ball, getting past 2 defenders, 3 defenders, and he scores a brilliant goal in the top right corner once again. And Dortmund might just be in first place. And then Mecca passing to Babuli. Babuli has space. He's gonna do it, isn't he? He's gonna do it. Oh my God! Ani Babuli with another banger of a goal, making it 2-0 in the 31st minute of the match. Ani Babuli scoring banger after banger. Dortmund looking like they're not finished here in the 58th minute, where Babuli would get caught by the defenders. Svanberg passing it over to Kaminski. Kaminski laying it off, and it's Amora on the ball. He chips the keeper, and somehow Wolfsburg find themselves back into the match. But unfortunately for them, it was just too late. And while Dortmund did manage to get their 3 points, so did Bayern. And as you can see, Dortmund second, Bayern first. One team will win this Bundesliga. Who will it be? Match week 28 sees Dortmund travel to Sportverein Darmstadt. And of course, this will be a very, very difficult match, as the pressure is now beginning to mount. Ani Babuli passing it to Adeyemi. And Adeyemi passing it to Babuli, who passes it over to Julian Brandt. Julian Brandt with Teckers, passing it to Chukwu and Mecca, who caps off a brilliant goal, which gives us the 1-0 victory, which shoots us up to first place in the Bundesliga. We have somehow managed to turn our form around, and with just 6 matches left in the Bundesliga, Dortmund sit top of the table. And that is the perfect spot to end today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and have yourself a great rest of your day.